ओम शांति। चलो, ओम शांति। आज हमारे सौभाग्य की बात हमारे बीच आदरणीय जयंती दीदी जी हैं और हम आपका आज के इस क्लास में बहुत 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 स्वागत करते हैं दीदी।
जी।
Yeah. So today, as many of you are new, और पहली बार आप इस ब्रह्मा कुमारी के किसी सेशन को अटेंड कर रहे हैं, so आज हमारा जो विषय है साइलेंट माइंड एंड हैप्पी हार्ट। जैसे आज का समय चल रहा है, तो इस समय के अंतर्गत किस प्रकार के विचारधाराएं मन के अंदर चल रही हैं, और जैसे विचारधारा होती है वैसे ही हमारे मन की स्थिति भी हो जाती है और वैसा ही हमारे आसपास का वातावरण। तो आज हमारे बीच आदरणीय दीदी जी हैं जो शी इज अ वेरी सीनियर सिस्टर ऑफ ब्रह्मा कुमारीज ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, और आप हमारे लंदन सेवा केंद्र पर रह करके सारे विश्व की सेवाएं आप करते हैं। आप यूरोपियन सेंटर के डायरेक्टर हैं और हमारी स्पोक पर्सन ब्रह्मा कुमारीज की, और बहुत ही बचपन से, छोटी आयु से आप इस विद्यालय से जुड़े और इस विद्यालय की शिक्षाओं को अपने जीवन में धारण करते हुए अनेक अनेक आत्माओं को, अनेक लोगों को स्पिरिचुअल लाइफस्टाइल के लिए इंस्पायर किया और अनेकों के जीवन में एक पॉजिटिव चेंज लाए। हमारे सीनियर्स दादी जी, ब्रह्मा बाबा और जो इस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के चीफ रहे, उनके साथ भी आपके बहुत ही क्लोज एक्सपीरियंसेस हैं। तो आज हमारी दीदी हमारे बीच उपस्थित हैं, सो हम उनसे अपने अनुभव युक्त जो इनसाइट्स हैं उनको सुनेंगे। एंड वी वेलकम ऑल ऑफ यू एंड वी वेलकम आदरणीय जयंती दीदी जी. She is with us and she will explore on the subject silent mind and happy heart. So welcome Didi once again.
Thank you.
I would like to hear from you. Yeah.
Om Shanti. A greeting of peace to all my sisters and brothers. And I'm very happy to join you here in India. I'm at the moment in Abu. I arrived here for welcoming hundreds of thousands, in fact, of people from all across the world in February and March. And of course, suddenly there was lockdown and I find myself still in India. I'm happy to be here, especially in Mount Abu and the big campus we have at the base of the mountain in Abu Road. It's a very lovely topic, silent mind and happy heart. And I would like to begin with the happy heart. And I have a question for all of you. Where is the happy heart? And if you say, well, did I not do a little bit of anatomy and physiology at school? Well, I did. And I know that what's here on the left side of the chest is a pumping machine. But we always describe it with the heart, and we talk about the heart as the place of love. I'd like to suggest something else, that when we are talking about the heart in terms of happiness or pain or sorrow, we're not talking about the physical pumping machine. Yes, when this particular organ begins to get strained and feels pain, it's a big time signal that it should be checked, because at any moment I could leave. But in fact, the reality is that the experiences of happiness or pain or sorrow and joy are not here. They are actually within the inner being, the being that is the eternal being, the self. And the impact of whatever happens in here is, of course, it's connected to the brain, and through the brain to the physical organs and every part of the physiology. But what happens is that when I experience something very profound, either pain or joy, very quickly there's a reaction in my physical pumping machine. And so it needs to pump extra blood at that moment to be able to get me through this particular trauma. And so we've always associated those feelings with something here. But in fact, this is the secondary reaction. The primary impact is within my own consciousness. And so when I point to the center of my forehead, I'm indicating the point of consciousness, which is where Atma or soul resides. And whatever are the experiences within my consciousness, those are the experiences that then determine the way in which I think, I feel, I believe, I develop an attitude, and I develop a vision. And according to that vision, so are my actions. And my actions, of course, lead to a particular culture being created. And beyond that, they also create the world. In Hindi, there's a very lovely expression that defines all of this. It's smriti, then vritti, then drishti, and then kriti, sanskriti, and srishti. And so things start in here. Even what I'm seeing, how I'm seeing, what interpretation I'm making of what I see is what is happening in here. And so this is why everything begins with smriti. But although the title says silent mind and happy heart, I want to begin with the heart. Because to reach the stage of a silent mind is a journey. It doesn't happen instantly. But a happy heart, that can happen very, very fast. Once I understand that happiness is not a destination to arrive at, happiness is actually a decision that I make on a day-to-day basis. Once I understand that, then I know that happiness is in my own hands. I'd like to share a story, a real story. And this is a story about a professor in England, quite high level. And he was asked by the American government some time ago. It's not recently, it's a little while ago. And he was asked by the government of the United States to be able to develop a research project that would explore happiness. And he was given millions in funding. And he went to the USA and he created a big, big questionnaire that was sent out across the world to many, many different places. And the first question that was asked was, what is it that makes you happy? And the answers came back in millions. And of course, they had all the computers and the staff and everything to be able to analyze and sort and all of this. So what came out was that people said that what would make them happy was money. Now, I don't know whether you believe this or not, but that is what people said, the majority. Number one was priority, money. And so he decided he'd go to the place where there's a lot of money. And he decided it would be Washington. And he went to Washington and he interviewed some of the people who were known to have big time wealth. They had big foundations and they were doing a lot. And he was able to interview them. And the question he asked them was, has your wealth made you happy? And they openly, very honestly answered and said, well, now that I think about it, my wealth has caused me a lot of fear because I don't know what's going on, where the next attack is going to come from, and what's going to happen to my wealth. Maybe there's going to be a terrorist act and all my stocks and shares will go down. Maybe it'll be an epidemic, and again, my stocks are going to be hurt and they'll come crashing down. And so I'm very afraid. I don't know how long I can hold on to this wealth. I'm afraid to sleep at night because even though I have all the systems of security in place, who knows, anything may happen at any time. But I'm also afraid of people because I can't trust them anymore. If someone approaches me, I wonder, do they want my money or do they really want to connect with me as a person? And 99% it'll be because they want something from me. It's not that they want to have a friendship or a connection with me on any other level. And so that also makes me afraid. And I don't know how long the economy will continue the way it is. It might suddenly crash at any moment. I went through the 2008 crash and I lost billions. And so I don't know whether the same thing can happen again. And so I'm very, very afraid. And certainly I don't feel so happy as I used to when I was carefree, I was young, and I didn't have to think about any of these things. And so that was the reality of happiness comes through money. The second thing that was on the list was beauty. And people's imagination was that if you're beautiful, everybody loves you, everybody finds you charming, they want to be your friend, and you probably have wealth also because you have access to people with wealth. And so they put the second criteria for happiness is beauty. And this person decided he'd go to the place where there's the maximum number of beautiful people in the smallest amount of space on the planet. And of course, he chose Hollywood. And once he was there, again, many, many interviews. And in the interviews, whether it was beautiful men or beautiful women, the answers were again very similar. And the question again was, has your beauty given you happiness? And the big thing seems to be fear. And so again, this thing came up. I'm very afraid. What am I afraid of? I'm afraid that younger people are coming on the scene and I lose my position. They'll take over and I'll be thrown to one side and nobody's going to want to bother with me. Every time I eat a spoonful of food, I'm counting the calories because I know that for the women, I don't want to put on weight. I don't want to change my weight or my curves. And for the men, well, I don't know whether this is going to just add flab to my weight or it's going to actually give me muscles. So I have to be very, very careful about what it is I eat. And then the third thing, friends. I don't know who to trust. And if I trust somebody and they break my trust, I become so disappointed. I'm heartbroken because they didn't come to me because they liked me as a person. They came to me and pretended to be my friend because they wanted my connections. They knew that I was well connected. And so they wanted not me, but they wanted who I could connect them with so that they could fulfill whatever was their dream and their desire. And the other thing, every day I look into the mirror and I see more lines. I see more wrinkles. And so I think, how am I going to hold on to this? And how many surgeries do I need to have to keep looking beautiful? And so it concerns me a great deal, but it means that my beauty definitely hasn't brought me happiness. And so the two top factors that were on everybody's lists proved to be a non-reality, imagination. People who didn't have thought that having that was going to give them happiness, but it wasn't a reality. And so he then went on to see, what is it that actually does bring happiness? If these things don't, then what can bring happiness? And what they found was that high values, a life of good character, that always brought happiness. And what they also found was that good education gave people a better chance of getting a good job and having financial freedom and independence. And so that was likely, not always, but likely to give happiness also. And so it was a very different picture to what they had imagined when they set out on their research. And today I'd like to say that, yes, I agree that both things do bring happiness, but maybe a little bit of a different slant and perspective. When they say that good character, values bring happiness, I agree with that. But people don't always understand how to develop high character and good values and live up to high ideals. When we're young, we usually have very high ideals. And then as our responsibilities grow, we get married, we have a house to buy, we have children to educate, we have 3 mouths to feed, lots of things come. And I compromise those high ideals and high values that I had. And I think, well, that's the way the world goes. But whilst I'm young, if I can actually understand that values lie at the very core of my being, and again, in here, within the soul. And if I were to have high values and maintain those high values in my life, then there's more of a guarantee that I'll have happiness in my life also. If I don't follow the code of conduct dictated by my conscience and my core values, do you think I'll have happiness? There'll be a struggle going on inside continually. And the struggle will be between my conscience and the reality of my life, between what I'm actually doing in my day-to-day life and the core values that I have. My conscience and my core values will work together to remind me, to guide me. But if I ignore them or I throw them away, what's the result of that moment? It's turmoil, it's confusion. I won't be able to sleep comfortably at night. I won't be able to have happiness in my life. And I would suggest that the only way to reinforce my inner core values and allow my conscience to be my compass, to be my guide, is the path of meditation. Because in meditation, we're emerging the highest potential within the self. And as a result of that, we're allowing those highest values to be expressed in our life on a day-to-day basis, not sometimes when it's convenient and ignoring my values and my conscience when it's not convenient, no, but to follow the core values at all times in my life and be guided by those. And I may not have so much money in my pocket as the next guy or girl, but I'll have happiness in my heart. My heart will definitely stay happy. Many, many aspects of happiness. And another aspect is, as I said, education. But I'm not talking about education in terms of degrees and attainments out there. Yes, by all means, study and get a good qualification, whatever it is you're interested in. And it doesn't matter what degree you get, in a way, because the important thing is that you've learned to think in the right way, in a logical, reasonable framework. You've learned to articulate abstract ideas and be able to put them into some form of communicable system. I'm talking about, yes, all of that is useful, but I'm talking about spiritual education. And a question about that is, how well do I know myself? So I'm not talking about the study of scripture. I'm not talking about traditions or rituals. I'm talking about the understanding of the deepest and most profound truths that govern my life. And so the first would be the understanding of the self. If I don't understand myself, what is my future? Everybody else will say, well, we don't understand what you're talking about. And I'll also say the same. Well, I don't understand what it is you're saying. Maybe I've misunderstood something. And so where I don't know myself, there's confusion. Neither do I understand myself, nor can I communicate that to another, but equally, that inability to know myself is lacking. And so whatever else comes along, I won't be able to understand them clearly either, because of the confusion that exists within my own soul. And so I'm seeing that education, knowing myself, knowing the divine, understanding the laws of the universe. Sometimes we call them the laws of karma, the law of cause and effect, but not on a limited material level in the cosmic sense. And so I need to understand these three things. Who am I? Who is the divine? Who do I belong to? And thirdly, what is it I need to do now? And so this is why we're sharing these ideas with all of you, young professionals, because at this moment in your life, if you allow yourself and give yourself the space and time to go through this spiritual education, you find that this is a huge investment that will bring you immediate return. You won't have to wait 5, 10, 15 years to get the return of this. No. Understand yourself, and you begin to find that you're enjoying a different quality, a higher quality of interaction with those around you. Connect with the divine, and you'll find that you're able to maintain emotional stability in a way that you weren't before. Understand what it is you need to do today, and you're liberated from fear and anxiety. I'm worried about tomorrow, I'm worried about the future. No. If I focus on the present and I do what I need to do in the right consciousness today, I don't need to worry about the future at all, at all. And the past, well, if I'm worried about the past, let me seek forgiveness. Maybe I'm worried because I've made mistakes. That's usually why I'm afraid that ghosts from the past might turn up in front of me today and cause a problem. Well, yes, they might. But if I've dealt with my mistakes with realization and transformation, if I've reached out to the people with whom I did wrong, I seek their forgiveness, I've settled the things of the past. I don't need to be afraid of them anymore. There won't be any ghosts coming to attack me from the past. Then, at the present, focusing on who I am, the connection with the divine, and doing what I need to do at the right time, in the right way, there's a guarantee that my future is in good hands, the hands of the divine, destiny, and there's always going to be enough. Maybe I won't have luxury, but I'll always have enough. And I don't need to be afraid of anyone or anything in terms of how the future will evolve. At the moment, it's very difficult to even think about what's going to happen in June. Never mind my future in a year or 5 years' time. Nobody knows. Everything is so uncertain. And so if I get worried about these things, what happens to my happiness? Poof, it's gone. But if I'm focused at the present, dealing with the past and the future in the way I've described, I'm able to stay happy, I'm able to stay calm. And I share that happiness with whoever is in my family that I'm in lockdown with. Maybe I'm in a dorm and I can share that happiness with those who are around me. Maybe later, when I can begin to be out and about, again, can I share happiness with all those who I will meet? Or will my story be of, oh, it was so awful, this lockdown was incredibly painful, and so many things went wrong, and I nearly lost my job, and da-da-da-da-da-da. Well, does anybody want to listen to your story of sorrow? Not really. They have their own pain to contend with. If you were to say to them something that's uplifting and empowering and internally nourishing and help them in that way, then they would say, yes, tell me more. But if all you've got is a tale of sorrow, they've got their own sorrows already. And they've had enough tales from others about sorrow. And so they don't want to hear any more of that, that's for sure. So let me be able to generate happiness within myself each day and every day. What I've done is to make sure that I'm going to use my time in a worthwhile way. When I've lost time, then I've lost quite a bit. It's never going to come back. You lose 10 rupees, well, you can gain 100 later. You've lost time, there's no way that you can catch up. So now, even whilst lockdown continues to whatever extent, am I using my time in a worthwhile way? I can engage my time in study, in something creative, in doing something kind and compassionate. I can do lots of different things. I can study spirituality. I can meditate. I can journal. I need to know more about myself and find out what's going on in my own inner world. So let me see how to use my time in a creative, worthwhile way, and I'll be very happy. So there's ways in which one can create happiness with self. It's connected with the mind, because where do my feelings come from? My feelings come from a pattern of repeated thoughts. Why is it that I become unhappy? I've allowed certain thoughts to overtake my mind, and I can't put a full stop. I don't know how to apply the brake. And so these thoughts and memories of sorrow just keep coming, and the feeling I'm left with is of great sorrow. The other way is also true. I have uplifting thoughts, pure thoughts, elevated thoughts, and that's going to bring me happiness. And I can make sure that I maintain a conscious stage of happiness at all times. So use your mind in a worthwhile way, educate yourself in a worthwhile way, nourish yourself, connect with your own inner core values, follow your conscience as the guide, and also keep doing good things for others. A few words of kindness, empowerment, upliftment. And if it's not just for those around you, contact your friends, people who you were working with, your colleagues, and a phone call to them, and they'll be happy and surprised and say, oh, I was just thinking of you, probably. Or they'll say, oh, it's been such a long time since we met. I'm really looking forward to meeting you again very soon. So you'll receive much appreciation and gratitude from those who you have connected with, just simply offering them a moment of love, a moment of joy, and great hope for the future. And so keep doing good things. And that accumulation of goodness will ensure that happiness is being accumulated inside your own inner world. And so you accumulate the power of goodness and happiness, and you'll be able to share that with whoever it is you're in contact with even today, but also you're preparing for post-COVID-19 so that you have something of value to share. So think about happiness, experience happiness, fill your hearts with happiness, donate happiness, and that happiness will boomerang and come straight back to you and make you smile again. So a happy heart is powerful, it's strong, it's not fragile, it's not sensitive in the sense that it cracks easily. No. If there's a fragile heart and somebody is oversensitive, they don't know how to handle themselves and relationships keep breaking. Well, when I was a child, that was fine. You know, one day we're friends, tomorrow we're not. And the next day we make it up again. But as an adult, and all of you are young adults, many of you are fully grown adults. As an adult, I can't keep breaking and making relationships. I need to be able to sustain relationships and support others through my friendship. And so it's very, very important to look after myself and know what's going on in my own inner world so that then I can be a support to others and help them and also allow them to have a glimpse of inner happiness that nobody can take away from me. And if I have that sort of nourishment, they say that there's no nourishment like happiness. And it's true, isn't it? When you're happy, you feel strong. And if you're sad and weak, they go together. When I'm sad, I'm also very weak. I'm very vulnerable. I'm open to all sorts of influences and even bacteria and viruses. That if I'm happy, I'm strong, my immune system is strong, it's going to be powerful. And I'm more likely to survive any crisis than someone without faith, someone without that experience of connecting with the divine. So a happy heart is important in life, but also I need to have a silent mind. What is the mind? Where is the mind? Is it in the brain? No. How do I know that? Because the mind doesn't see any barriers. The brain does. There's limits of time and distance, but my feelings, my thoughts, they're timeless, they're eternal, no beginning, no end. I can go back not only to my days of infancy and childhood, but I can also go back in time, way, way, way back, and find myself with the ancient Egyptians in the pyramids, find myself in Athens and Greece with all the scholars of that time. There's a lot to be done. And maybe I even go back in times in India and I can see what's going on at the time of the rulers and understand what was actually the situation there. So my thoughts have no barrier, no limit. I can go back into the past. I can go forward into the future. I can travel across time. I can travel across distance. I can go to New York in a moment. I can come back to Delhi instantly. So the brain isn't capable of creating things that are beyond limit. It's the soul, the inner being, the conscient living life force, the being of light that I am. This is the being that actually is the key. This is the being that's able to generate thoughts, sustain thoughts, and as a result of those thoughts, make decisions, able to allow that situation where I can help another because my own mind is my own best friend, and I can help others if my own mind is my best friend. If my own mind has become my worst enemy, I can't help myself, never mind being available to help anyone else. And so the silent mind is a mind which is a good friend for me, a good companion for me. And what do I need to do? I need to make sure that I keep my thoughts clean. And that means no criticism. It's our habit to criticize. Have you noticed that? Very often we criticize. There might be 10 good things, but there's one thing that's not quite right. And what will we comment on? The one thing that's not right. We won't comment on the 10 good things. And so I need to clean my mind. Remove criticism, remove negativity, remove even waste. Well, that makes sense, doesn't it? If you accumulate waste in your apartment in a little corner, the flies start coming, the bugs start coming, the smell begins to be unmanageable. It's a problem. It might be the cause of disease. And so you want to get rid of waste as soon as possible. You don't allow waste to stay in your apartment for longer than is absolutely vital, not even an hour longer. Get rid of it. So what's going on in here when there are waste thoughts? Which means that it's none of my business. It's you and another. And I don't have to think about it. It's not my responsibility. If it is my responsibility, let me take action and see what's going on and sort it out. But if it's not my responsibility, I don't need to waste my inner energy, which is very precious. I don't want to waste it at all. And so I need to keep track of that. So what sort of thoughts do I have in leading or creating a silent mind? Pure thoughts. Thoughts based on spirituality, thoughts based on truth, the awareness of the soul, thoughts about the soul, the awareness of my core values that are deep down within me, the awareness of the divine, my relationship with the divine, maybe connecting up with others who are thinking about these things and I get on with. So all of these people are the people I can connect with and support and help. But most of all, I need to look after myself. And so I've eliminated negativity, I've eliminated waste, and I'm having now thoughts based on eternal truth. And then further, thoughts about God, thoughts about my relationship with God, thoughts about the qualities of God. All this is fine. It's good. It's powerful. It's pure. It's elevated. And so before I can reach a silent mind, I need to have a clean mind. And over a period of time, developing a clean mind that is very active. Clean, a silent mind doesn't mean passive. Silent mind doesn't mean nothing. Silent mind means rich and powerful and pure and elevated. And then, yes, there is the silence, but I need to get there through all of this. So what I'm doing is a lot of cleaning. And I'm keeping only the pure, elevated thoughts about the self and about others. And then I'll find that because of that cleanliness, that purity in the mind, there are not so many thoughts buzzing around. It's fewer thoughts. It's thoughts filled more power. And what happens is that if I allow waste thoughts to come, things that I don't need to think about, then that's a drain on my energy. Do you keep a budget? Yes, of course you do. And if you didn't keep a budget, you'd be in deep trouble. There would be problems. And you learn to keep a budget and things go well. And so, same thing with my mind. Let me budget the energy of my mind. I don't want it to go down wasteful avenues. I lose a lot. I don't want it to go here and there. I want it to stay focused on these three aspects of spirituality, the three fundamental steps. Who am I? What is my connection with the divine? And thirdly, what must I do now? And if I'm keeping my mind focused on this track, from time to time, I'll feel my mind becoming quiet. The speed of thoughts reduces. It slows down. When you've got weeds in your garden, can you count the weeds? But if you've got flowers in your garden, they've been cultivated and you can count every single one of the flowers. And so wasteful thoughts like weeds, draining away the energy of the soil. Pure thoughts like the flowers with a fragrance, able to bring a smile to each one's face and able to empower and uplift. So let me practice this, that state in which I have noble thoughts, pure thoughts. And then I find that from time to time, I'm able to put a full stop and the mind becomes silent. And I'm able to have power reach me. Whilst this machine is going very fast, I don't have access to the power from above because the machine is working high speed. It's no chance for recharging. But a moment comes when it just goes flat. I don't want it to happen like that. I want to be ahead in the game. So I don't want things to suddenly just crash. But I want my speed of thoughts to go slowly, accurately, and reach the destination, which is the connection, the communication with the divine. So I've shared with you many different things. And if you would like to ask questions, then this is the time when you can do that. I'm sure that the facilitators will be able to help and do something. We have a few minutes for questions, and then at the end, we'll have some meditation together. Rohit Bhai, Ansuya Ben, any questions? No questions?
I'm Jayanti Didi. This is Hussein Ben from ORC, and we are all sitting here and listening to this powerful class. It was really very deep, where you told us about the silent mind and the happy heart. There are a couple of questions, so let's go straight to those. And I will also request our participants, if you have questions, you can please type into the chat that we have. So Didi, let us start with a common question. We have a couple of them which are similar. They say that advise on the effective technique to deal with the negative past memories because they affect our present. And something similar, wherein they say that, you are trying to avoid remembering someone who was close to you, you had a relationship, but you never had a closure with that person before cutting off all communication. So those past memories now affect the present. So could you advise on that? And of course, that's definitely not a silent mind.
It's true, it's definitely not silent. And generally speaking, I'll take it up generally and then specifically in terms of the relationship issue. So generally speaking, if there are negative experiences that I have, they leave a very deep imprint on the soul. And so I have to come to terms with that. So let me explore what it is that happened and why it is that it happened in that way. And are there lessons to be learned from that? And if there are lessons to be learned from that, let me learn those lessons now. And also, probably what happened at that time seemed very, very painful. But track back, and from there track to the present. And you probably find a red line, which is very helpful. This happened, and as a result, this happened. As a result, this happened, and this happened, and this happened. And that's what's brought me to this point. So maybe I didn't see the value at that time, I didn't see the benefit at that time, but now that I explore the red line through my experience and my journey, I'll probably be able to see the benefit. What was it that I learned? And if it hadn't happened like this, then it wouldn't have happened like this, and it wouldn't have brought me to where I am today. And so that appreciation that it happened for a reason, that there was some benefit in it somewhere along the line. And then if there are mistakes that I've made, like I shared, seek forgiveness for those mistakes so that then you can put closure on that. In terms of relationship issues, I think that if there is a breakdown in relationship, there's again a reason. And it's probably not one-sided, it's probably on both sides. But I ask myself the question, could I have done something differently? And I'm not just talking about the end and the breakup. I'm talking about through the whole of that relationship. Maybe I was being bossy. Maybe I was being too controlling. And the other side, maybe I was being very demanding. Maybe I was expecting too much. So just go through a process with yourself to see what were the factors that led to that breakdown. And hopefully there will be enough realization to say, okay, I understand. And now that I understand, I can put closure on that episode and just have nothing but good wishes in my heart for the other individual, that they also may find a spiritual path that can bring them benefit. But certainly, from my side, I can then put closure and say, thank you. I've learned big lessons. Okay.
Thank you, Didi. You talked about appreciation and also to check within the self what could have I done differently, and some similar question which stems from it, and a person has asked how to deal with our regrets. So, for example, I realized I had been very bossy. I wasn't the sort of person I should have been, and now there's no way I can get back to that person. Sometimes that feeling could result in a lot of regret. So how to deal with that?
Do I have enough humility to actually do two things? Firstly, to seek forgiveness, write a note, write a letter, whatever it is. Don't try to seek them out and chase them. Just a note to say, I'm really sorry that this happened in this way. I now realize that I was X, Y, Z. So please forgive me. That's one thing. The second thing is that if I can recognize my mistakes, can I also now decide I want to change so that I don't carry the same mistakes with me into any relationship that may follow next. And it doesn't have to be an intimate relationship. If I've been damaged or I have damaged others in a particular relationship, there's a particular factor within me that's going to keep popping up, and it's going to damage any other relationship that I have. A simple one with colleagues at work, with extended family, whatever it is. So I need to be able to see that and finish that. So then I'll be able to deal with the regret. I don't want to live my life with regret. So first to seek forgiveness, and the second is make the change that I need to do.
Thank you, Didi. And I think it also solves the answer to really all about the past that we want to erase. It's really about checking, appreciating, and being humble and be ready to change.
Right.
Didi, there is another couple of questions. We'd like to take that. Hope you have the time for that. A few more questions.
If we have just one or two more, then we have time for meditation. Otherwise, we won't have time for meditation.
Okay, so let's just choose one or two more, two questions. One question is that when we are working in offices and different places where there are different people and the energies are different, how to maintain this silent mind because their energies are very different. And also, what is a quick 1 minute tool, like you said, make the other person happy, give happiness. So what is that tool, very small, simple, that can make the opposite person happy?
Well, the first thing is to keep my silent mind, even within a situation of many varieties and many vibrations. Each day, before you begin the rest of your day, get up half an hour earlier, and recharge your own inner battery with silence. Have some spiritual study that you engage in every day to keep the compass of your mind clear and moving in the right direction. And so these two things are absolutely a must. And if I practice these two things, then when I enter the office space, I'm protected because I carry the power of this within me. And then even if people are commenting, people are saying, people are doing things that shouldn't be happening, I can just keep silent. And if someone comes to me, I can smile at them and deal with whatever it is they want. But also, maybe I do need to take it a step further. And if really there is a commotion that is unhealthy, I need to report it to my line manager or whoever it is, so that they are aware that it's a big confusion in the atmosphere. But from my side, I need to protect myself. And so my time for meditation early and my time for spiritual study in the morning gives me that inner capacity. So that's maybe the most important thing. And to make another one happy, let me just keep smiling and saying good things, positive things. Don't wait for a response from them. Maybe they won't respond today, maybe not even tomorrow, but maybe they'll respond the next day. So just keep a genuine smile, not a fixed artificial smile, but just keep a genuine smile, and also then just simply keep saying positive things, nothing negative whatsoever.
Thank you, Didi, for giving those great tips to all of us. Rohit Bhai, Anusya Didi, you want to add something? Didi, आप कुछ कहेंगे?
ओम शांति।
ओम शांति।
बहुत अच्छा आपने दोनों चीजों के लिए बताया, अपने माइंड को कैसे कूल रखें और हार्ट को कैसे हैप्पी रखें, बहुत अच्छे टिप्स दिए और सभी ने बहुत अच्छी तरह समझा भी है। और जितने भी सभी सुन रहे हैं सब नए हैं, तो हमारी आपसे ये भी उम्मीद है कि हमारे आसपास जो भी सेंटर्स हैं वहाँ आप कांटेक्ट में रहेंगे और अपने दिल को सदा हैप्पी रखने के लिए आपको नए नए टिप्स भी मिलेंगे, मेडिटेशन करने का चांस मिलेगा और सदा अपने जो भी आपका जॉब वगैरह है वहाँ पर आप खुश रहेंगे। ये हमारी आपके लिए शुभ भावना शुभकामना है। और जयंती दीदी ने बहुत अच्छा आज टाइम निकाला हम सबके लिए। आपका भी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद है। बहुत बहुत हम आपके लिए शुभकामना रखते हैं। आप सदा ऐसे हेल्दी वेल्दी रहकर सभी को ऐसा खुशनुमा बनाने के लिए अपनी सेवाएं देते रहेंगे। ओम शांति।
Om Shanti.
Om
शांति। जयंती दीदी का बहुत बहुत थैंक्स है कि और ये लॉकडाउन के दौरान ही थोड़ा सा हम लोग भी वीडियो कॉन्फ्रेंसिंग से थोड़ा ज़्यादा फेमिलियर हुए, तो सोचा कि क्यों ना हम इस तरीके से और प्रोग्राम्स करें। और इस प्रोग्राम को बल देने के लिए जयंती दीदी का हाँ करना एक अपने आप में बहुत ही बड़ी, हमको लगता है कि हमारे लिए अचीवमेंट है। और आने वाले समय के अंदर भी हम इस तरह के प्रोग्राम्स के अंदर हम आपका समावेश रखेंगे ही। तो बहुत बहुत थैंक्स है दीदी का।
मुझे भी खुशी हुई आप सबसे मिलकर।
Yeah, thank you, Didi. But before we break, it will be nice if you can lead us into a meditation if you have time. That will be great.
Yes, surely we'll do a short one. Yeah. Sitting comfortably, I reflect on the things I've been hearing about, and I go on an inner journey. I find that space within myself which is sacred, a space that only I can enter. And in this space, I keep the flame of understanding and truth alive. The understanding of who I truly am, the eternal being of light, the understanding of the Creator and my connection with the Creator, my understanding of all the things that are happening in the world around me, but now connected with the divine, the being of light. I send out those vibrations of light to the whole world, so that all those who are in pain and suffering can benefit. As I do this, I can feel souls experiencing upliftment, protection, and silence. God's light and love gives them a happy heart and a silent mind. Om Shanti. Thank you.
Thank you, Didi, for your time, and we hope that everyone definitely would have taken some points for them and would really apply them and share this conversation within their friend circle and apply the points. And we hope to see you once again sometime very soon. So thank you once again. Om Shanti, Didi.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti, everybody.